Over the past few months, I've been speaking to experienced DJs whose libraries are starting to fail them. It's not because they're making beginner mistakes.
I definitely have a problem to define a clear tagging structure.
It's because 10 or 20 years of decisions that seemed like a good idea at the time have turned into chaos.
It's grown wild.
Today, I'm going to be roasting Erwin's library. He's been DJing for about 20 years out of Germany, but when he needs one clear answer, finding tracks that he trusts turns into this.
I'm struggling with that. I don't know. That's the point. Where do I find this?
He needs a way to get 12,000 choices down to 5 quickly. In this video, I'm going to dig into how Erwin's library ended up here, and then rebuild it into simple layers that separate what a track is, what it does, and what he should trust it for. In Erwin's library, every idea gets its own tag.
Tags are the most valuable thing in my library, and I add tags now and then, but I don't delete other old tags.
Let's have a look at some of the crazy shit he's got going on in here.
This one is, for example, löschen meets delete. So when sometimes I find a track and I listen to it and I think, oh, it's probably not so good, I give it the track delete. Then I have like this situations like open air when I play in a lounge. I play as an opener, but I also have intro, so I don't know actually opener and intro. Yeah, maybe opener is as a track. Intro is more like maybe a pad or someone talking. And then I have some. If I find two tracks which perfectly fit together, like a mashup, I give both of them a link tag. So then I have the possibility if I find, and I'll also use this one here. You see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
I use this link thing, but to make sure when I use this, I can find the tracks when I have like the this view, right? Then I can see the but I don't use that view and I don't like it that much.
Erwin didn't really like Rekordbox's related track feature, so he replaced it with a tag, another tag, and an intelligent playlist.
And this is then the feeling I got: dark. The German word would be düster, melancholic, happy, emotional, uplifting, psycho.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of work, those tags, aren't they? In the libraries I've analysed, this is actually super common. Tags in themselves aren't a problem, and they can make it feel like you're adding structure. But if you're not careful, you're actually just adding another step before you can make a decision.
So when I'm stuck and I don't find any tracks, then I look in the Don't Forget playlist. Check is maybe something like Don't Forget. It's like check it again. This open, build, roll, peak, and reset stuff, this is new. And then like feelings like sexy, funky, hypnotic, driving and rolling. But this is also a little bit like similar, like here maybe. Yeah, you see it's like, it's grown wild.
It's easy to poke fun here, and I will. But at an individual level, the tags themselves aren't really that ridiculous. Apart from sheeped, Erwin's got tags that describe quality, the role they play in a set, the vibe, and even relationships and library actions. To be honest, most of this is useful stuff, but Erwin himself knew that it was starting to cause him real problems.
Yeah, and they also like grown within the last couple years. So the headlines are not fitting perfectly, actually. Like, it's not just genre.
All right, next, I wanted to give Erwin's library the most simple test I could think of. I asked him to just find me his best tracks.
That would be quite easy, actually, because since I have these numbers 1 to 5, you go in the 5 category, but there you find tracks like with 70 BPM and 170 BPM. So then you would go there further.
That is almost like he answered my question, but that right there is actually his core problem in one sentence. Because 5 doesn't actually mean they're his best tracks. It just means probably start looking here. And then once you're there, also think about genre, vibe, mood, and maybe also check a few playlists to be sure. Then you might want to make a cuppa and watch an episode of The Office, then spin around 3 times and point at the screen.
Actually, I'm thinking, since this also did grow, like when I started this 1 to 5 in 2022, I had like 20 tracks in it. But within the years, it became more and more and more. And now I'm thinking of maybe I need a number 6 for the best of the best, like my secret weapons maybe also.
So let's break down what we just heard. 5 originally meant a top tier track. Fine. Over the years, more and more tracks started receiving that 5 rating. At that point, the rating stopped narrowing the choice. The solution? Let's add a 6. You can guess what will happen in a year or two's time. That's right, Owen will need a 7. Now the problem here is this isn't necessarily a bad rating system. It's that when too many tracks fit in that rating, Owen's solution is just to add another level to it. He's bolting on yet another decision point. What he really needs is hard rules as to which of those ratings a track should fall into. For example, 1 might mean I need to give this another listen before I trust it in my sets. And 5 means I can just trust this track without listening to it again. Now, before we carry on, I do want to say thanks for Owen for agreeing to share his dirty laundry in public like this. I didn't actually need to see his pants, but fine. If you'd like to be roasted in future, sign up for the newsletter, the link's in the description, and I'll let you know when there's more slots available. Right, it's clear Owen loves tags, but I wanted to dig in to see if he was using any other methods to help him narrow down choices in his library. It doesn't seem like you're using color at all, which might be a useful tool to explore.
I tried it once and no, I didn't use it.
Oh, okay. I guess it's not for everyone. But we already know Owen uses a rating system, so he probably uses the rating field for that.
Yeah, actually, I don't use that either. Yeah.
Oh. What about intelligent playlists?
Some dynamic playlists, but I don't use them often. I could delete them on that.
Right, let's recap. Owen's tagging system is like a tall person on a Ryanair flight. It's got tags that used to mean one thing but now mean another. It's recreating record box features that already exist, and it's getting more and more complex as time goes on, preventing him using it to find tracks quickly. The last piece of the puzzle I wanted to understand was whether any of this was actually affecting him on the decks.
So usually I play 2 sets a month, each it's just 1 hour. So it's okay like to have 20, 25 tracks and still be flexible. So when I play, it's okay. So usually when I play, I don't switch between playlists actually. And I don't use the filter or search function when I'm playing actually.
10,000 tracks, dozens of tags, mixed in key and lexicon. Then Owen opens one playlist and never touches any of it. Now, jokes aside, I'm not suggesting Owen has any trouble playing out, and I'm sure he's a very good DJ. He's actually built a huge amount of flexibility in his library. But the issue is it's so complex that it's only accessible when he's sat down at his laptop with a few hours to unpick it. By the time he reaches the decks, that flexibility has been squashed down into a single playlist that he rarely moves outside of. It does the job, but it means all the power he's got in his wider library is inaccessible to him when he's playing if the dance floor takes an unexpected turn. Okay, we've heard enough. Let's talk about some quick fixes we can do to untangle this without losing any of the hard work Owen's put in over the last decade or so. And then I'll show you a demo of how I'd actually do it. As we've heard already, one of the problems is Owen has not mapped some of his tag structures to record box features that are actually probably more appropriate for it. Think of your library like a big funnel. At the top, you've got all your possible tracks, about 10,000 in Owen's case. That's too many to actually make a decision. So we're going to add a couple of logical gates on this funnel that will help narrow down your choice. They're kind of like little bouncers that only let you through if you're wearing the right kind of trainers. Each goal is to remove irrelevant tracks so you're left with a small candidate pool by the end. On Owen's library, I'm going to add 3 of these bouncers. The first bouncer looks after roll. If I'm looking for a peak time track, he's not going to let in any of the openers or the resets. The next bouncer is trust level. Based on the quality rating that Owen's given his tracks, this bouncer is going to help him understand how much he needs to audition those before they can be put into a set. And the final bouncer is the hippie one. He's the one that does the vibe check. Is this a sexy track? Does it smell a certain way? Or does it like dogging on the weekends? Each of these gates we're going to use different record box features for. Role is going to be looked after by color, trustworthiness or quality is going to be looked after by the rating tag, then the hippy dippy shit is going to be dealt with by the actual tags. Now I know as a people Germans are opposed to rules and structure, but I think a short remapping exercise could really open up Owen's library. Alright, I've got Owen's library up here and we're going to do a bit of remapping. I'm going to use some intelligent playlists to help me do this a bit quicker. So the first thing I want to do is map some of these role-based tags that Owen's already using to the color field in Recordbox, but I want to rename that first. So I'm going to head up into preferences. I can't be bothered to find where this actually lives because it will make no sense to humans. And we're just going to change some of these to the tags Owen's already got. So he's got open, build, roll, peak and reset. And I'm just going to blank these other ones out for now, just so it doesn't get confusing. Right, so let's sort out the open one first and map that to color. So I'm just going to create a new intelligent playlist. Just call that roll, because I'm just going to use the same playlist to do this for all of them. Pull in here's matching my tag, which is here. Right, so not too many there anyway. Right, let's assign the open color to those. And then we are actually in a good state to just get rid of this open tag altogether, because that's now living in that new color system instead. One tag gone. And I'm just going to repeat that for the other couple of roles that he's got. Okay, in about 60 seconds, we've managed to move those tags that he had there into a new system, which actually fits what he was trying to do a lot better. Now, the next thing I want to tackle is these 1 to 5 tags that Owen's using here. There's a bit of a nuance to this.
Then I have this one from 1 to 5. This is just how good a track is, no matter which genre. Then I find out I don't need 1 or 2, and then I changed, and 1 is for really, really, really slow tracks.
So this number 1 tag is a bit ambiguous at the moment, so I'm going to leave that till the end and show you how I deal with it. But my interpretation of what I heard when me and Owen were chatting is that 2 and 5 broadly do actually mean that quality rating. So I'm going to go ahead and map those on. So get rid of the roll playlist, and now we'll create one to do the rating. And again, we're going to go through a very similar vibe, just pull in all the 2s. Select them all, and then stick a 2-star on. And then we can get rid of that tag. All right, I'll go through and sort out numbers 3 to 5, and then we'll talk about what we do with this weird 1 tag. Okay, number 1, which apparently means slow to Erwin. I'm going to assume here he doesn't mean just raw BPM, so a 96 would be a slower track than a 175, for example. From talking to Owen, it seems more like it's subjective, this feels kind of slow. And because it's subjective, it actually does probably belong in the tags. So for now, I'm probably actually just going to rename this as feels slow. Out of interest, let's see how many of these he's actually got. Yeah, not so many. Because it's actually a lot fewer than I was expecting, this is going to be quite easy for him to audit and say, okay, was this one of the tracks that I thought felt slow, or was it in my old system where it felt more like of a quality scale? So that'd be a next step for these tracks. Going forward, my recommendation to Owen and to anyone who's struggling with this is to make sure that the system you're using always has one meaning. So from now on, rating should actually be that quality scale. A 1-star rating is a bad quality track, which begs the question, why is it there in the first place? And a 5-star should always mean like the top level banger in the library as a whole.
It's like a little bit like this library dojo way, like just regularly put some effort on your list and you have some aims or some work to do, which you concentrate on small pieces of work, but steadily, right?
Exactly, mate. After about 2 minutes work, Owen's library can already enable him to do stuff he wasn't able to do before. Give me a high quality peak time track that feels uplifting. And that's his selection. Or give me a selection of openers that are melancholic, and maybe I need to give another listen. Before, Owen's tags were trying to describe what a track is, how it felt, what job it did, when to play it, its maintenance status, and even its horoscope. But now they have a very clear purpose, subjectively describing the feeling of a track. I can't pretend I can translate all those German tags I saw, but they reflect Owen's personal music language, and they stay right where they are. All we're doing is standardizing where that information lives, not losing it. Each layer in this system now has one very clear job to look after. The layers will speed up his prep, but it'll also open up more opportunities to break out of his prepared gig playlists if he needs to. With these layers in place, it enables you to create fast and easy no-scroll playlists on CDJs that will help you find your next move quickly. So watch this video next where I talk about the 8-track rule that makes DJing stress-free no matter which way the dance floor turns.